There must be lights burning brighter somewhere. Got to be birds flying higher in a sky more blue.
Good morning. Welcome to Right Thinking with Steve Copeland. I'm your host, Steve Copeland, and thank you for tuning in. Let's have a great day. Good morning, everybody. Glad to be here today. Thanks for tuning in. I hope each one of you had as wonderful a Thanksgiving holiday as I did. As I told you last week, it was my 38th straight year of having and celebrating Thanksgiving at my own home. And I've caught a lot of flack over the years, but, well, my wife would like to go over her mother sometime or her sisters and not have to do the cooking, but I've always said, well, you can go if you want, but I'm going to be here. I know that sounds a little selfish, but it's the one day of the year that I've managed to claim and just slow myself down and just be thankful that the good Lord has given me another year to be here and to just count my blessings, and I just love it. So Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. I love Christmas Day, of course, with the birth of Christ, but Thanksgiving's a wonderful day. So again, I hope that each one of you had the same experience of thankfulness that I have when we had Thanksgiving. So good. I hope you did that. Last week, we had Dave Richards on for the 6th time, and Dave came up with a new format that was really good. He didn't tell me what the show was going to be. He said, Steve, just be ready. I've got something we're going to do. And so it was a victory for me because I've been trying to get Dave to take over the show for a while so that I can retire. He's not quite ready to do that. But so what he did was he had the beautiful poem by Max Ehrlichman from 1954, I think it is, Desiderata. And if you don't know that poem, just Google it and read it. Or better yet, listen to last week's show. So what Dave and I did was we read that poem. And it ended up being like a Bible study. That's what I told Dave when we were doing it. We went verse by verse, and then we talked about things that it brought to our mind. It was very spontaneous, but it's an amazing, powerful poem that we studied. And I think the main thing that came out of it for me is that we were able to share a little bit of positive encouragement, some words of wisdom, specifically about how important it is to read, particularly reading to your children at an early age so they become readers. And there's so many beautiful things about reading. So, again, I want to thank Dave for last week's show, and I encourage each of you to listen to it. If you've got a little bit of time, I think it will enrich your life. Well, things are really going good. The networking that I'm involved in my life, where I'm out there trying to have a positive message and meeting new people that are also positive. It kind of goes back to Leffert Fate was on the show about 2 months ago. I met him through Jeff Heiser, who was a very good friend of Leffert's. Leffert had been interviewed on Jeff's show last February. And so Jeff wanted me to meet Leffert, and I did. And Leffert has a TED Talk, and Leffert's an incredibly beautiful person. He's a servant, and I think the title of the show was Listen to Leffert Fate, a true servant of the Lord trying to make the world a better place. Something of that nature was the title. Leffert was 30 years, give or take, in the Air Force serving our country, and then he worked for the South Carolina Department of Corrections, and he was in charge of health services, and he specializes in mental health, and he is an incredible advocate for mental health. And now he's moved on to Sumter, South Carolina, works for the city there in charge of some health for the city. And he and I have established a very beautiful friendship. In fact, Leffert is going to have his own show on Talk Network Radio in the next 4 or 5 months, give or take, and he's going to be a regular guest on Right Thinking with Steve Copeland, this show. And so I went to South Carolina. He got me in there, and I visited a couple prisons. And so this is what positive networking is when you have the opportunity to meet someone that you recognize is a true servant of the Lord that's trying to make a difference in the world. So a week or so back, Leffert told me that he had a close friend that I've got to meet. And I did. And so I am thrilled to tell you that today I'm bringing on this close friend of Leffert's. Coach Jay, are you there?
I am. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. So people used to say when somebody is being talked about nice, hey, be careful because they won't be able to get their T-shirt over their head or something because their head will get so big. But I want to talk about you for another minute or two before I let everybody hear you because it's just, hey, I'm excited because when I have a guest like you on that I know is going to inspire and encourage people, it makes me smile because that's what we're trying to do here. This show is dedicated to people that are going through hardship and those that are there to help them. And so let me just lay out what I think is a beautiful theme for today, then I'll tell them a little bit about you, Coach.
All right.
Coach Jay is doing so much in the community, and we're going to talk all about what she does. I don't want to say it just yet. But for me, it's like I said, Leffert and Jeff Heiser and others, when I meet somebody that is a special person, that is just out there working hard, giving of themselves to make the world a better place, there's really nothing better than making a new friend. And so I called Coach Jay the other day after Leffert gave me the introduction, and we had an introductory conversation, and it happened so quick. And so one of the comments that she made while we were talking was, you never get tired fighting the good fight. And so this is the kind of person that I'm going to introduce y'all to, listeners, and it's Coach Jay. So here's kind of what it is. All of you that are listening, some of you are looking for people that are there for you that can help you. I'm one of those people. I always need help from other people. So don't ever forget that. No matter where you're at, we all need other people. We've got whole shows on that subject. Barbara Streisand, people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. Well, that's part of it, but the other part is this. I hope that by the end of today's show, when you hear the incredible things that Coach Jay is doing with her life, trying to be part of community and help other people, I hope that you're inspired to go volunteer your own time. Find out what it is that you can do to get into the middle of the community and do more for others. So, Coach Jay, is that a fair goal for our show today, is to inspire and recruit people that want to do more for others to make the world a better place?
Absolutely, Steve. Absolutely. The more people that we get involved in helping the community, just like you said, it'll definitely make our world a better place, one person at a time.
Wonderful. So that's what we're going to try to do. Now, when I was preparing for the show, I had some materials here, but let me start it off with the scripture because people are going to start to be curious as to what is it you do? Well, I'll tell you in general that she has a program that she started in 2002, I think is the year, about 12 or 13 years ago, actually 17 years. And she has a program called Team Perseverance Athletics and Beyond the Court. Now, Beyond the Court is a program that teaches life skills through basketball, and Team Perseverance Athletics really reaches out to youth and young adults to help them find opportunities that will help them succeed in life. And so I'm looking for a second here. We talked before you got on the phone about here it is. I apologize. Your bio. Let me give them a brief bio now. Now we're going to turn the section of this show into the real introduction of who Coach Jay is. Okay. Coach Jay, Coach Allen, is a native New Yorker, and she lives in Sumter, South Carolina. She served 24 years in the United States Air Force. Thank you, Coach, for your service.
Thank you.
While she was in the Air Force, she'd played basketball in college, and she played basketball, I believe, in the Air Force, and she spent 3.5 years as an intramural and varsity director, and then she spent 20 years as a medic and a medical clinics manager in the Air Force. She began her coaching and officiating career while she was in the Air Force, and she is the founder of Perseverance Basketball Association, a not-for-profit program that reaches out to at-risk youth to provide a place of grace and a program that student athletes can learn the game of basketball while learning life skills. So let me sum that up, and then we're going to turn it over to Coach Jay for a few minutes here. Coach Jay has coached boys and girls and men and women at all different levels for over 20 years. She's coached in the AAU, she's coached in middle school, high school, she's coached in the Air Force, and she's also coached in professional women's basketball. And she's currently the associate head coach for the women's Carolina Stars. She holds a business degree from SUNY Cobleskill and Allied Health Services from the Community College of the Air Force, and she's currently enrolled in the Military Public University, where she's majoring in sports and health science. This might be a little old. Is that right, Coach Jay? Are you still doing all that?
A little bit old.
Okay.
Actually, I am. I'm still enrolled in school.
Oh, okay, wonderful. So she recently got a franchise from the ABA, the American Basketball Association. We're going to talk about that at length in a minute. But what I'm telling you is that Coach Jay is a military veteran. She's been a medic, but she's dedicated her life to youth and young adults to try to help them find direction in their life and do positive things. And I've read her website, every page of it, the last couple of days, and researched her. And I got to tell you, it's time to be given the treat that I told you we're going to have. So, Coach Jay, did I tell them basically what you do? You're working through sports to help people find a better approach to life, and you pass on life skills. Is that correct?
That is correct, Steve. Yes, sir.
How did you get in? Just tell your story as much as you like right now.
All right. Well, growing up in New York, I was an athlete. I played all sports. My parents made sure that I stayed in organized sports, and it kind of kept me out of trouble. I realize that now as I look back. And when I had my daughter, when she turned 5, I started coaching one of her little teams at school because they didn't have anybody to coach. And so if there wasn't a volunteer coach, that means that the little kids couldn't play. So I stepped up, I volunteered, and I realized at that point that I had a captive audience. They were there to play basketball, but there was so much opportunity, at that age, to teach them manners, to teach them sportsmanship, to teach them how to treat their little friends, and just to be a good person. And so it took off from there as far as the program. I coached my daughter all the way through till she was probably about 24. And as I started getting into the middle schools and the high schools, of course the subject matter changed for them because as they get older, they're into different things. It's not about calling people names like little 5-year-olds may as we get older. It's about staying out of areas that are not good for you. It's about staying away from drugs. It's about teaching them to have self-worth, that kind of thing. So as we grew, it was more of a satisfaction thing for me to know that I could be a servant to someone else and help someone else go through the things that they need to go through. Maybe some things that they weren't being taught at home. And a lot of them were there. So by the time 2000 rolled around, I started the program in Florida, Perseverance Basketball, and it was a lot for at-risk youth. But what I learned is that it's not necessarily the kids that come from poor homes or broken homes. I also realized that kids that are wealthy and come from a two-parent home also need that support, that tough love, because sometimes they also do not get it from home. So that's where we started. And then when I came to South Carolina in 2005, I watched some of the basketball that was going on, and me being the